Forge.com. I'm just saving to server again. Then click on this. You see with class name. What is the mismatch happen? Subject class, a subject class. Let's go to the pages once again and okay. This is a weird error because it should say we are good at let's indent it properly, and this for loop is ending here. Oh no, this for loop is here. I'm just indenting just to identify whether there's an error or not. Just select this. Okay. I'm creating new class from my UI with a new play again with the new page name, new 3, and this also should be in the same name 3. Click on save. Perfect. Saved. Yeah, this is what we are looking for, and there's some problem here. Um. Okay. The problem is we have given the class name as this, and we are trying to save it as a class as object class 1. That's the problem. Just it won't save like this. Oh my god. But earlier there is some other problem. We are trying to save it the same subject class, but there is some problem because it's already created in the someone. It's on the database. And it's not trying to override it. Okay. So series of problems. And let's go and create the VF page also now. Later on I will explain it. Okay. What's the apex? Mm, Now I'm creating with the dynamic apex page name. Click on subject class 3. Click on save. I think there's no errors this time because it's yeah. So this is simply um, We are now displaying the list of all objects inside our Salesforce. Okay, and with their object codes also. Object key prefix is something like which you see at the end at the start of object record ID. For suppose if you are trying to open account record, you see uh, 110. I think so. I think is it right? Am I right? Let's go to that in account record. See, 001 is the object prefix key, and that's what I'm trying to display here. Um, page. Yeah. So for suppose, let's go back to our code. See here, I don't see the class name. Now I can see it. This is the, yeah, a subject class. Here I'm defining a string which will describe this subject. Means these are all strings. Actually, I'm just storing in a string format. Okay. If you see here, the variable which I'm accessing is lst wrap. If you check what is lst wrap, and this is lst wrap is a wrapper list of wrapper classes. So list of wrapper classes. So this wrapper class contains so this is the wrapper class object wrapper. What it contains: object name, object type, whether it's standard or custom object, and key prefix. The key prefix, what I'm talking about, the first three letters of any ID. With this ID you can identify what object it is. If it is starting with a1y, means it's book test object 1. If it is starting with aoy, means it is uh, book 9 underscore review underscore c object. But some of the standard objects don't have this id keys. Okay. But let's see where is the account asset. Account will be having, oh sorry, I'm searching for account. Yeah, here is the, I'm just going to the account. Yeah, here is the account object. If you see, this is the prefix 001 which I showed you before, the first three digits of the account thing. All the IDs starting with 001 comes under account object thing. So that is the reason you can by seeing this ID only you can identify which object is the current ID belongs to. Okay, the current ID belongs to account object. This is how you can identify with the key prefixes. I want to show this everything in one page, and at the end there is one more there is one more checkbox like true or false, like boolean variable called query also. Okay, so for all the things, most of the things you can query. For some of the objects you cannot query that objects. That's the reason you cannot query that objects. This is for a system administrator or a Salesforce developer who can perform action, who will be generally dealing with the IDs and to query the objects, all this stuff. Okay, these are all the simple things I am displaying. If you go to the, this is the list of wrapper class. I'm querying each and everything here in the constructor class. Subject 3 is our custom controller. By calling this page, I'm going to call this custom controller. This in turn will call this method. This method is storing different things like a list of all objects in one string. Okay, list of strings called objects will store all the list of all the object names, and lst wrap will store the everything, objects, object type, prefix, and even the query. This is list of that's what I'm just using it here. I'm initializing here and I'm using it here, object wrapper lst wrap. And this lst wrap, I'm going to load the data with this query. So here's the simple thing for querying the object. So if you want to know the objects inside Salesforce, you have to use this schema dot as object type. Okay, so this will store you the actual so this type will store the actual object properties in this list. Schema dot get global describe dot values will bring all the values and it will store in this list. Okay, so here I'm getting describing all the objects, whether it's a custom object or standard object or their object key id. Everything is stored inside this standard, um, means each and everything will be stored in the database, but schema dot get describe thing will will query all the properties of all the objects. Let's go to our apex methods, standard methods. Get, I want to show the method to you, which is get global describe will oh my god, this is not mentioned here. This is describing global describing things are here mentioned here. So so it's not here in the cheat sheet, it's missing here. I found the rare stuff. Same way you can even get the describe of photo as object type also. Okay, but here we are defining the global of all the values. Okay, this separate method to get all the values of all the objects and their types. So here I'm storing in this list and I'm parsing this list one by one, and after parsing I will store it in different wrapper class. See, um, so I'm adding in the objects, I'm adding all the value of uh, as object type. I'm adding the values in objects of these objects. I'm adding it to objects, these object names. Later on I'm describing as object result. So for this particular object I'm getting the describe thing. Okay, and I'm storing in as object. So in this as object, if it contains underscore underscore c, I'm considering this as custom object, else I'm considering it as standard object. So if it is a custom object, I'm adding to the list wrap saying add new wrapper class string value of yes. Okay, string value of s means the object name as well as and the I'm simply passing a simple parameter called custom object. See, this object wrapper will call intent will call this method, and I will pass the object name to the string, custom object or standard object to the string, or the code to the string. All these are strings in this wrapper. See, this is a string, this is also a string, hard coded string, custom object or standard object, this is two hard coded values, and as object dot get key prefix is the separate function. I know this for the first time. Okay, but generally used it long back. Okay, for getting the value of this the 3-digit value of the id, and is queryable means is queryable means whether you can query on that object or not. If you can query, it says true. If you cannot query on this particular object, it will say false. That's what you see. Most of the objects have true values, and there is some objects like process instance history. This object, this is again, you cannot see this object from the front end. This is anyway in the back end. You cannot query this object. Same way, I am just checking some more object called activity history. Also, I cannot query, and attachment content document also I cannot query. These are some. There are some restrictions, and combined attachment also you cannot query. So there are few objects you cannot query. This is for our information only, to check whether which objects are not queryable, which objects are queryable, all this stuff. Okay. So the format you already know. This is a simple definition how to use the which function for describing the things. Get global describe will get you all the object values available in the system. It will consider all the shared objects, custom objects, and after that you are converting it to string and storing and passing it to the wrapper class here in this line here. And if it is contains, if s object, this particular s object contains underscore underscore c, this is considering it as custom object. That's how I am displaying the second column value as custom object or shared object. And the prefix value, there is a shared function as object dot get key prefix. That value you're getting it from schema dot describe as object result. This method is bringing out this values. Okay, that is defined in as object as obj. As obj dot get prefix value will bring that a 3-digit code for each and every object. And as object dot queryable, this is the independent property of each and every object. Okay, and I'm going to display in a list of things. So um, so here is all the test classes available generally. um, let's write this test class now. So what is a test class in general, right? What is a test class? Yeah, most of the programming languages, right, after coding, you after developing some application, you have to write the developer has to write the classes which will call the functions what you have written, and which will execute the functions. And after executing, right, you might get some result. You're going to compare that results with your expected results, actual results with your expected results, and you're going to validate. If it is true, you're going to compare with system.out statements, and if it is true, it means your test is success. If it is not validating properly, your test is failure. That's how you're going to use test classes. Now what I will do is I will better I will write test class for, see, for writing the test classes, you need to insert the data properly into the in the class only you have to write it. In the test class only you have to insert the data properly required for validating all the conditions. If there's if conditions or for loops, if loops, everything you have to see that all the loops are properly executed. Okay, so let's, now I'm going to the, okay, I have to create a new class. Just creating one class for that will help to, For suppose, do you see my such class? So let's do one thing, because we have to store, generally we have to write this test class inside the, generally after 29th release, right? They have made some changes to the test classes. We cannot save it separately. Before that, we can create the separate test class also with different names, and if it is executed, all the related objects for this test classes will be executed. Now they have removed it. You have to add the test class under that particular apex class only. I can choose some two to three examples, and I will try to do edit the particular class. I don't know this test class is related to which object. Or can we do this wrapper one thing, which is having account contact? Oh no. So let's go to w1. Where is w1? Our, I think w2 is different, or w1 is different. Oh, now I'm writing. So before adding test classes, you have to put is test annotation to tell that this is a test class, and it won't count in your, it won't count in your number of code of lines, because even though there is a limit for number of lines of code also in Apex. You can remove this definition and try to save this without that. Test method is that already test method. So now I have to define, because after inserting the data, you have to call the current constructor to which you are going to add the test class. Involved count wrapper. I think this is not the right test class for this. Is this taking the contact? Yeah, account contacts. Okay. Yeah, so I have to write a lot other code also. I have to I will add this contact name, phone number, email ID in the test class. I have to insert this data also, but in the current scenario I'm adding only the contact last name only. um okay, so the contact wrapper is invalid in the current scenario. Let's do uh, I will explain you in the tomorrow's class about this example, and even the batch class and schedule apex also examples. I'll prepare that and I will explain it to you. So if so that examples are in the end of this PDF page, the batch class and schedule apex also. And I will show on the scenario how to update all the accounts in my machine at once with a simple means. I can execute this batch apex batch at morning 4 a.m. and I can do this stuff, and I will show the scenario which will be executed after some time. Means I'm not going to do it immediately after I will keep it to tomorrow morning or after half an hour. Immediately when I start the class, right, I will run this batch apex with example, and at the end of the class I can see that things are changed. Okay, we are going to use some particular time. That example I'll show you tomorrow, these two examples. Okay, let's close the class for today, and I want to spend 10 more minutes. If you have any questions, just ask me, because we are at the end of uh, training, and I want to know more any questions or issues what you guys are facing. And I want you to go to Apex Developer Guide. I will share it by today. That's a documentation which I have means easy to use documentation. On the first assignment you have done, right, you have done some application on from PDF, right, with a step-by-step fashion. Same way I'm going to give one more PDF for Apex Developer Guide, which will show you the lot of examples and detailed explanation also with a step-by-step process, what in what way, in what order you have to do that. That PDF I'm going to share tonight. You guys, you can start working on this parallelly. If you have any issues, just you can use the chat and you can message me. Okay, that PDF do have all the examples of wrapper classes, and again batch apex, everything. I'll share it by end of today. Thanks, guys. Any questions from the team? Try to install the Eclipse in your mission by tomorrow. Okay, try to use it. If you have questions, just throw it in the class. Bye, guys.